caltrop is an area denial weapon designed to stop the enemy. The caltrop is a sturdy, simple, yet effective weapon no matter its position. Its purpose was originally designed to stop elephant and donkey attacks. It graduated to stopping tanks. And now, the caltrop is your defense against propaganda, polished lies, and manufactured outrage. It's free from counterfeit credibility and synthetic truth. However, inside the walls of the caltrop, you're going to be forced to think. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mike Caldarise is the caltrop.
From the heaven to the hell, the mic Caldarise, the caltrop, he never stops, so ring the bell. He bring the facts, he's been up every morning till we sleep. He get it deep, Mike Caldarise, in your head and in your sheets. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Caldarise is the caltrop. And we don't mind, and we don't care, Mike Caldarise is the caltrop. And we
Good evening and welcome to the Caltrop. I am your host, Michael Caldarise, and you may be wondering why I am in my guest room. Well, we're going to be getting to that in a second, but welcome to the Caltrop. I am your host, Michael Caldarise, and we are your defense mechanism from all of the things that you see that are propaganda in the news. And the guest I have on today is a mayor candidate in a town that's called Jackson, New Jersey. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to have him on are the unbelievable attacks that are coming at this guy, and not just coming at him. He ran a campaign, and the attacks that came from the to the campaign to the person he was running the campaign with were just incredible. And it is morphed over to him, and it's the lies and the garbage that comes out of media, and you don't realize it's on a local scale. It's on a local scale. It's on a nationwide scale, and it's a very big problem. But we have problems up and down our system, from our state to our local government and our nationwide government. So without further ado, there's no Mike's right, there's no monologue, there's nothing like that. We are going to bring in Elliot Shem-Tov. Did I say that correctly?
100% correct.
Right, because it's very Jewish.
It's very Jewish name, very Jewish.
I gotta be honest with you, Elliot. I read in the paper that you were some Jewish dude, but it's Friday night. Did you walk here, or what happened? Are you here, right? Like, somehow you're here and you don't look like your typical Jewish dude.
Well, it's 8:05, and I did drive, right? And I don't have a yarmulke on or any kind of jacket or anything, so I guess I am not that Jewish.
Okay, got it.
Right.
So it's or were you born that way, something like that?
Yeah, my father was born in Israel. My mom is Jewish also. Grew up, I wouldn't say really religious, but we really followed the Jewish faith. Probably till I was around 10, 12 years old. And, again, you're going back to the 70s, right? Where things were much more traditional in America to begin with. And, you think of the 70s, it's only, 30-something years since the Holocaust, right? So families still were very traditional back then. And then obviously with time, things change. You become more reform. Interestingly enough, over the years, I have always been very proud of my Jewish heritage, but at the same time, I've done a lot of my own research. I don't buy into what people tell you should be, right? Just because a rabbi or a priest tells you this is what you should follow. I follow what I want to follow. So, look, today I'm a proud Jewish guy, but, I'm also a Christian. I follow, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, proud, happy of it. And, praise the Lord, preach the gospel.
So let me ask you, it's just because my weird brain, the way it goes. Is
Yep.
Jewish a race or is it a religion? I think that's a good question, because I don't know if anybody really knows the answer to that question.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? So I think in normal mainstream, people speaking, I've heard people say, I'm half Italian and I'm half Jewish. It's like, wait a minute. Jewish is not it's not a place, right? It's just a religion. I mean, look, going back to the Holocaust, 15% of Italy is Jewish because there were a lot of Italians that took in Jewish folks, Germany and Poland and so on, Austria, because they didn't believe in the final solution. So, now you have several generations of these Italian Jews growing up, and some of them follow the Jewish religion, some of them are Christians or Catholics, whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's just a religion. It's a religion. It's what you follow. It's your belief in God or whatever, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of different sections, a lot of different styles to it, and the whole nine yards.
Yeah.
But the reason why I brought that up, everybody, that I want to come out with that zinger is, it was just amusing to me watching you guys get called anti-Semitic, anti-Semitic the entire time when Chris Pollock was running. And he ran, obviously, the campaign for Chris Pollock, which was resoundingly successful. I mean, you guys destroyed the person you were going against by, I think it was what? You almost doubled his votes.
There are 34 districts. We won 32 out of 34 districts, 13,000 plus votes. I think it was like the highest vote count for a councilman in something like 2 or 3 decades. I mean, we crushed it, but we crushed it because we went with a new age type approach to campaigning. We modeled very similar the Trump approach, right? Using what Trump and Stephen Miller did. And, we heavy social media, heavy video content. We brought the voice of the candidate directly to the people. So instead of doing all that typical print garbage and TV garbage, stuff that people just look at and they're like, typical politician, we brought the voice directly to the people, and it resonated.
It 100% resonated. And it was just funny watching the hit pieces on Chris and hit pieces on you guys. So then I brought up the Jewish thing because you were called anti-Semitic. Chris was an anti-Semite from one particular news channel in New Jersey. And he was also a plethora of other things, right? So It was funny just being the observer of this, watching you simultaneously be called an anti-Semite. And that was so bad. But now the attack on you is, well, hey, you can't vote for him because he's Jewish.
Yeah.
It's really funny watching the same guy put these things out over and over. Why don't you give everybody just a taste? Because you guys see this nationwide. You see it against Trump. You see this stuff happening. But why don't you give everybody a taste of what you've experienced? And you just declared that you're going to be running for mayor
a few days ago. Correct.
So this was coming out at you for weeks before you even declared.
Yeah.
So just give everybody a taste of like some of the things that maybe, or some of your favorites. What are some of your favorite things that you may want to dispel?
I mean, I'm going to go back to a story. So, and again, I believe be yourself, be honest, tell the truth. Don't try to be political. I'm just a regular guy, right? I'm like Chris, except I'm different in a sense that I'm a business guy. Chris is he's a mechanic in the city, right? He's a scaffold mechanic. We're very similar, but we're very different people. Right before the campaign, I'd say maybe a week and a half, I ended up getting a phone call. Chris got a text message from an Orthodox guy in the community, really moderate mainstream Orthodox guy. And he was like, hey, we don't want to vote by what they tell us to vote for. I really want to know more about this Chris Pollock guy. And, can we connect? So now he knew nothing about me. He didn't even know who I was. I reached out to him. And the irony is the guy's name is Ellie. So in this hit piece of me, the picture is actually that guy. And I'll get to that in a moment. Great story. So I end up meeting this guy, Ellie. And I tell him, I said, my name's Elliot Shem-Tov. Elliot, not Ellie. He's Ellie. And he's like, wait a minute, Shem-Tov, are you Jewish? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh my God. He's like, the entire community has thought that this Chris Pollock guy is a ravenous anti-Semitic guy. I said, no, I would never, ever in a million years manage and talk to, be a consultant to a anti-Semitic guy. So he's like, great. Let's talk. So we meet at this place, Bagel King, which happened to be 2-3 minutes from my house.
So Jewish.
Right. Totally. It's a kosher bagel place. Turns out someone in the town who has a lot of power, who sits in the council, knew I was going to be there and informed the person who's the chief editor-in-chief of a certain news publication that really spews a lot of yellow journalism, he either came in himself or sent somebody in to snipe me with his phone and take pictures. Look, I meet with anyone, right? So I meet with these guys because I want to see what they think and what they have to say. And look, they live in Jackson. They're voters too. They're residents. Chris didn't run and then got elected to only govern part of the people. If you live there, if you're a resident, right, he's going to represent everyone. We're not there to only represent 70% of the community. So we met with these folks, had a great conversation, talked about Chris, talked about his platform issues, asked them what they were looking for, had a great conversation. Some of the things we agreed on, some of the things we didn't agree on. But it was just a great conversation with three adults. And this person from this particular news agency posted pictures at the time and now has reposted them to change the narrative that I'm this undercover Orthodox guy who's, looking to it gets better, Mike. Not only take over the town, I want to take over the county, Tom's River, Brick. I'm aiming to take over the whole county. Little old me who's never been in politics, been a student of politics, but it's never been my goal to do anything more than to potentially, if I needed to, step in and serve the people and serve them fairly. So that's kind of what happened. And this thing blew up because the guy from this so-called publication, he just runs the same garbage every 3 or 4 hours on his network. And it's just getting tired and ridiculous because most
and
of the people
paid, right? Don't the Jackson taxpayers pay this guy to do this?
They did. So he had a contract up until January 1.
Okay.
And the contract through an RFP process, from what I understand, was never renewed. The town actually didn't renew another source. I think they're going to be releasing the news releases internally, from what I was told.
That's what Brick does. Brick doesn't pay anybody to do it, and I don't see why you would pay, especially the way they used him against you guys, right?
Yeah.
The hit pieces that were coming out against Chris were just absolutely disgusting. And by the way, does that sound better, everybody? It would help, in the rush from getting home. I was mortaring all day. My fingers are like basically worn down to the bone right here. And it'll help in the rush to actually plug in my microphone. So I don't know if a lot of people, you probably heard me from far away, but let me know if it sounds a little better. Everybody's commenting it in the chat, and I appreciate it because I would have had no idea. We would have just did the whole thing, and it would have been unplugged. But so let's get into this. So give me a little background of like who you are. I know your faith, right? We've talked a little bit about that, but who is Elliot? As far as what got you to the point, like, take me through who you are and why you're running, if you can, in kind of the same answer. I know it's a loaded answer, but go wherever you want with it.
Yeah, I'll start from the beginning, right? So I grew up in New Brunswick, moved to Howell when I was 10, went to college up at Fairleigh Dickinson from 18 to 22, moved to Jackson when I was around 25. I lived in 60 acres. Had about 2 different stints with roommates in 60 acres, moved back up north for a few years, and then I bought my house in Howell in 2005, right? Had a townhouse, got married, met my beautiful wife a few years later. 2014, we bought a home in Jackson, and I've lived there now going on 12 years this May. Before that, I grew up, like I said, New Brunswick, grew up to a family where, we did okay. And then my parents hit hard times. So I lived through, my father losing his home. My parents lost their home. We were on food stamps, social food stamps, stuff like that, getting help from the town, whatever. And then my parents got divorced. So I had a very tough life. My 20s, I struggled. I went to college, but I didn't finish immediately when I was supposed to. I had to go back to college to finish a couple courses. And then when I was 30 years old, I got into the business world and things went really well for me. I found myself, I found who I was. From there, I got my master's degree in cyber and homeland security. Currently working on an MBA. I took a little break from that now because things got a little hectic, as you know.
Yeah.
And I've always been a student of politics. So I'm bringing you up to speed quickly.
Yeah.
I'd say the last 28 years, I've really enjoyed politics. It's interesting. It's strategic. I'm a strategic person, and I've just been a student of it. It's been fun. It's been fun to keep tabs on it, and I've really enjoyed it.
So what are like? Let's do this before we get into local stuff. Because you're telling me who you are. Did your politics stint start like mine? And there's my son screaming in the background. You can obviously hear him. Did it start like mine? So obviously my focus is on nationwide politics.
Yeah.
And then you quickly realize, like, wait, they're doing all this stuff behind closed doors, and no one's asking them questions. You realize local politics is really way more important. And then I got into local politics later. Are you the same way? Are you more focused? Like, you were focused on nationwide politics, and then what thrust you into maybe like well, first off, let me ask this.
Yeah.
What are you like as far as Republican, Democrat? Do you identify as a party nationally or what?
I'll give you the quick breakdown. Like a lot of people in the 90s, when I was in college, when I was a teen, I was a Democrat, right? My first 2 elections I voted for were Bill Clinton. Proudly loved him. I thought he was great. Today,
You like the cigar tricks?
The cigar tricks were interesting. I never held it against him. Look, he actually, that was old school. That was Blue Dog Democrats, right? Those are the Democrats that actually seem to care about the country. And then we had that big paradigm shift in, after 9/11. But of course, I got into the business world later on. I became a Republican. I became a huge fan of Ronald Reagan. I was a Reagan conservative. I still am a Reagan conservative. But I've seen a lot, right? We've seen an evolution in politics over the last 17, 20, 22 years. And it's really changed the way I look at things. I went from a huge national guy, to your point, to more of a local guy, because the national stuff, it doesn't impact the everyday person the way you would think, whereas the local stuff has such a huge impact. And then when you start digging through the layers and you start to see the muck and the swamp, the true swamp, bro, it is at the local level. And that's where, and I'm sure we'll get to this later, how I met Chris and we got involved in this endeavor, right? It's been eye-opening. I'd say the last 6 to 12 months, I've really changed the way I looked at politics hugely.
I totally agree with you, because this was the first local election that I saw up close and personal. You watch these from afar, and in my area, it's like the Republicans always run some Republican that nobody has any idea who the hell he is. You don't see him ever, and they just get labeled a high taxer when they haven't been. It's unbelievable what happens at Brick. It's ridiculous. But when you watch the dirty tactics, when you see just how shady everything is, it was honestly really cool to be in my position, because if I brought something up and it got enough views, you would notice the town addressing it immediately. Yeah. And it was like, okay, Mike brought up, now we have to get all potholes and pothole trucks on Saturdays and all this. But it's the effect that you could have. I've noticed you could actually have an effect locally. And when you say drain the swamp, you're 100% accurate. It's you drain the swamp. If we all focus on our local swamps, maybe the big swamp wouldn't be as disgusting, right? So, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? So you are a Republican nationwide, or nationally. Are you going to run as a Republican?
Yeah, I'm going to run as a Republican
against the Republican,
but against the GOP.
Okay,
I want to clarify. So, what I've seen happen to the GOP locally, in the state, the county, the local level here in Jackson and around Toms River, Brick, all that stuff too. It has gotten perverted, right?
Perverted's a good word for it.
The level of corruption and foul play and pay to play, it's disgusting. I mean, it's to the point where you don't want to be a Republican, but I'm a Reagan conservative, right? I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Democrat. I mean, let me take it back even another step. Running and supporting local candidates, you do what's right for the people. I don't care what the platform is. Like, for example, and I'm sure, again, we'll get into this down the road, my biggest platform issue, one of my biggest platform issues, is the environment.
Okay.
Now, that's a left-leaning talking point. That's a left-leaning platform issue. Clean air, clean water, mainstream Republicans will be like, I don't care about that. Climate change is BS. Look, it's all about what's good for the town. And Jackson is a very, very unique town. It is out of 33 municipalities in Ocean County. It is not like the other 32. We are not a seaside town. We are not a metropolis, even though Frank Sadeghi came in and said, we're eventually going to be 150 to 200,000 people, whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, that's where you say it's going. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Sorry, Frank. We are not going to be a metropolis. You'd have to knock down half of the pinelands and wetlands. Not happening. Not happening on my watch. At the end of the day, I will empower our environmental commission front row for all zoning issues and all building issues. Okay. So at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't get touched. And you may get some hardcore Republicans and some Trump Republicans who are going to say, look, I don't care. If you need to knock it down, power to the people, whatever. No. It's what the people want. Power to the people is what the people want. The people in Jackson do not want pinelands and wetlands decimated. And I will tell you this, I'm only going to come in for one term. I do not want multiple terms. I believe in term limits. I'm telling you right now, and to your fans that are watching, you're going to get one term. I will leave a small safety valve open where after 4 years, if I have to come back because there's no one else, I will consider it. But I am here. I am a transformative figure that's coming in for one term to save the town and keep the town restored to the way it's been and keep it nice and keep it green. The crest on our flag is a tree, it's water, it's environment. Okay, that is the number one goal in Jackson.
And so it's, what's interesting is I think the Republican Party gets a bad rap when it comes to, because for me, for example, I am a full denier of climate change. I think the way it's put out is absolute trash. I think there's a big problem with the floating island of plastic in the ocean, right? I think we could all agree that that's a big problem. I definitely want we live on the beach. I live 5 minutes away from the beach right here. I want my beaches clean. When I go fishing, I'm picking up trash on the beach. Most of the fishermen I see are doing the exact same thing, right? Yeah. I think the environment means something locally to different people. And that's just like when you get these macro and everyone's like, oh, you get this 35,000 foot view. No, when you get a close up view of certain towns, we each have our own environmental issues. And I think all of us care about a clean environment, and regardless of the party. That's why it's like, when I asked you, what are you nationally? Yeah. Nationally, I don't think it translates. Do you think that the party actually matters when it comes to Jackson or Brick? Because, Brick has the same problems, and it was Democrat run for a long time. Then Jackson has the exact same problems. And do you think party matters? And then I'm going to add one more question to this. Like when you said, save the town, that way I can let you talk. What do you think? What do you think is the biggest issues that need saving in Jackson?
I want to start with a statement that I have friends that I used to argue with all the time with national politics, right? And I wanted to just get this out there because I think you're going to probably agree with me. It may resonate. I'd have friends that call me up that are hardcore on the left, and they're like, Elliot, this just happened and that happened, and things are going to change, and it's like, doom and gloom. And my famous line that I've been saying for the last 15 years is, every time I look out my back window and I'm drinking coffee, it looks like 1984 to me. And what does that mean? What does that phrase mean? Well, to me, it means nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. We've had Democrats, we've had Republicans. We've gotten screwed both ways, right? And we've gotten screwed both ways because the people that come in, they care about the party. They're tribalists. They care about serving the people at the top of their party, right? And I'm not going to mention names in Ocean County. We all know who those people are.
Gilmore, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't say a name. I was just sneezing.
You sneezed, exactly. So at the end of the day, we need people that really care about what the people want, what the framers intended. And that was following the Constitution, doing the right thing, not taking money, not taking donations from lobbyists or, folks that are attorneys in the town or builders in the town or engineers in the town. I mean, the last election, our opponent was taking money from the local law firms, right, in Ocean County, the local engineering firms. And these are people, some of them are commissioners that sit at the top in Ocean County.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, that whole pay-to-play theme, that's not just in Jackson or Ocean County. That's in New Jersey. That's in the state, everywhere, in the country. That's all over the place. And we see this. It's like right in front of you. And it disgusts me because at the end of the day, that's not the way we should be governing our country. And that's why we're $37 trillion in debt. That's why the state of New Jersey has to keep raising taxes. We get screwed every which way we turn.
Oh, but don't worry. Mikey Sherrill's going to freeze electric bills, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
She's going to freeze them. We're just going to freeze them, okay? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Nothing's. I think my electric bill just went up again. So yeah, nothing's.
Yeah.
The only thing.
Let's freeze them while they're at their height. Yeah, let's do that.
Mike, the only thing freezing is me in my house because I got to turn my heat down in the winter. Paying out of my ass to pay for heat. So yeah.
No, I get it. Listen, so what do you think the biggest issue facing Jackson is? Like top of the ticket. You know, you said environment, right?
So,
but what's the other thing that you think is top of the charts for everybody?
So I think one of the other things is, again, it's the lawsuits and the corruption.
Okay.
You know, there's been so many miscues in Jackson. I was just on the council meeting Tuesday talking about this. There's been numerous lawsuits, and every time there's a lawsuit, it costs the town money. When it costs the town money, it hits the budget. When it hits the budget, it hurts the people. You know, it just kills me that there are people in our government that run it in Jackson and Ocean County. They operate with impunity without even thinking that every move they make affects the taxpayer. Even though those are the people that make the decisions, the people are the ones with the voice because they have the money. And we saw that with the Chris Pollock election. He was one of the first outsiders that rolled in, and we went up against the machine, and we beat the machine that spent $100,000 plus to go against us. I think we spent 10 grand, right? And it proved to the people that if you have a voice and that voice is loud enough, you can take back your government. And that is what they are petrified this year. That's why their attack dog has literally came after me out of the gate, January 2nd, hitting me every 3 to 5 hours because we represent the final peg in this project of getting super control back into the government and literally returning the power to the people, giving the people the town back that they have been pining for 2 decades.
So let's get into that, right? Because like when I see these issues, I see the town wants to do something and I see the state not letting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So one of the things, obviously corruption is a very big issue. And obviously the pay to play stuff that you see that's going on and how these guys are able to sit on positions and own businesses and the positions help the business is insane to me. But I think the biggest issue in our area in Ocean County is flat out overdevelopment.
Yeah.
I think if you talk to, 9 out of 10 people, they're going to tell you that the traffic is getting out of control no matter where you go. You cannot drive through Lakewood. Some of these areas are just absolutely insane. Brick is one of the worst, because we get traffic from everywhere, the amount of cars, the amount of people, the amount of building. But I bring that up to say this. If you get to be the mayor, it's really easy to say we have to stop overdevelopment. And then the state comes at you guys. What do you have to build? 1,000 different affordable housing units in your area, right?
Yeah.
So the state comes at you and says, no, you have to build 1,000 affordable housing units. That means an extra 5,000 to 6,000 total units because they don't just build affordable housing, right? It's affordable housing maybe is a fifth or a sixth the amount of the development that is overall development. So they'll build 40 townhouses and 12 affordable housing apartments, some shit like that. That's what they do typically.
Yeah.
So when you talk about that, that's 5,000 buildings. Right. Now let's just say each one of those buildings is a regular old school Jackson resident. That's 10,000 cars.
Correct.
Let's say if it's a new, and I'm going to say it, Jewish resident, that's 15 to 20,000 cars.
Correct.
Okay. Because
let's face facts. They have bigger families, more people driving. When their families get bigger, it's a car.
You have a 6-to-1 birth rate.
You have 6 exactly right. So it's just these are just math numbers. So now just that in and of itself, you're looking at minimum 10,000 cars to a maximum of 20, 30,000 more people on the road just on those affordable housing numbers. So how do you fight something like that?
That is one of the toughest battles, because the whole affordable housing issue, it basically starts at the state level. So you have to fight the state. The question is, do we have the right people in the town and the county that are fighting the state?
No.
Well, how do you fight the state? How do you lobby to the state in Trenton when the same people that you think are on your side are really backing the developers, and they're backing the people who are purchasing the property to set it up for the entire affordable housing issue? I mean, we could talk hours about this, right? And it's a process. I mean, when you look at some of the space that's already been cleared, and they mysteriously put these warehouses that are empty, these ghost warehouses for
That's
years.
a problem with New Jersey. It's very interesting. We have so many empty warehouses.
Oh my God. My belief is that was step one. It's easy to get variances and so on to knock down trees and build these warehouses. And then I believe you're going to get folks that are already invested in these areas that are going to come in, take those areas, and then they're convert them into affordable housing areas. Now, switching gears slightly, okay, you build all these units. Not only do you have these cars, but you need infrastructure, you need drainage, you need utilities, which is part of infrastructure. And now you need secondary commerce, right? So now you need to build up all these strip malls and plazas, i.e., you now have what Frank Sadeghi referred to as a metropolis.
As a metropolis.
You have a metropolis. And I want to just add one other thing, because you can see I'm very passionate about this. I said this earlier. There are 33 municipalities in Ocean County. We are not Bricktown. We are not Tom's River. We are not any of these other municipalities. Jackson is the most unique municipality because it's 100 square miles, about 100 square miles. And a good percentage is wetlands and pinelands. We pride ourselves on that. People move here for that.
For that.
Yes.
I remember Jackson used to have a minimum like plot, didn't you? If you bought it, you had to have at least an acre or something like that back in the day. But no, I mean, Jackson is a very big area. Like, to me, if the variances or something, I think that have to be addressed with every single one of the towns. But I think Jackson's problem is a lot of other towns said, don't build here, build somewhere else, And Jackson does have a lot of space. And I think that's what you're seeing. People are saying, oh, yeah, okay, you want us to go build somewhere else? Okay, here's a lot of space. This is where we're going.
And, you know, I get it. It's a target-rich area for folks. And when I say folks, I'm talking about these wealthy developers who hail from Lakewood. And it's right next door, coincidentally. And these folks are like, hey, we've maxed out. We've hit max velo in Lakewood. There's nowhere else to build. You can't build buildings on top of buildings. So where do you go? You go to the next town over. And the next town over is fantastic. It's open. There's plenty of space, tons of space, right? That's not us. Granted, we're right next door. We don't want Lakewood 2.0. And I got news for you. For the folks out there that are saying, but the Jewish folks are coming in, the Orthodox folks are coming in. Those folks, we've talked to them, the ones that supported our campaign, and even some of the ones that haven't supported our campaign when Chris ran, the first thing they said was, we don't want overdevelopment. We moved out of Lakewood because we don't like the lunacy. And when I say lunacy, I'm referring to the overdevelopment, the fact that there's nothing green anymore there. They built
nothing green
like crazy. Yeah. The traffic is insane. It is the wild, wild west. And I'm talking about, I avoid driving through Lakewood because I can't tell you how many times I'll drive through to go to Tom's River or even in Brick. And 2-3 times my car almost got hit because people drive like crazy.
I did a video on this where I was cut off by everything driving up this way in my truck and trailer. When I say everything, literally a woman walking with a stroller pushed the stroller out in front of the truck to make me hit the brakes.
Yeah.
And then went out in front of me from every direction. But I'm going to push back against this. And I hear this a lot too, right? So you hear what Mordecai Bernstein said when he was on the show. I don't want overdevelopment. We don't want overdevelopment. It's a question I kind of asked Morty. The Jewish community brings overdevelopment.
Yeah.
If we're being very honest, okay? Because this is what happens. And it's not, like you said, the family structures are larger. Mm-hmm. So when you have roads like you see in Jackson, where you have, there's 10 houses there, mm-hmm. but the whole street is filled with cars, right? That aids in the overdevelopment, or the overdevelopment fuel, the traffic. When your traffic explodes, it makes it feel like you're overdevelopment, even if you're not really that overdeveloped, right? So how do you juggle this? And what do you say to the people that think, because in our area, this is an explosive topic, okay? And especially in Jackson, it's an explosive topic. How do you think you could thread the needle there with the Jewish community and the non-Jewish community to where you could almost satisfy things that I don't think can be satisfied? I don't know if, like, the two different ways the Orthodox community lives versus the non-Orthodox community lives, mm-hmm. I think are set up to clash. Yeah. Am I wrong with that? And then maybe how do you see it being a resident there on navigating both the different types of communities? I know it's a tough question.
It's a really tough question because I've lived there. Again, I rented there in the mid to late 90s. And, I've seen the evolution of Jackson. I grew up in Howell, right? I moved to Howell in 82. It's right next door. I had a lot of friends that I went to high school with that went to Jackson High School and so on. So you saw the evolution the same way I saw the evolution of Lakewood. And I got a bird's eye view in 1982 at 10 years old, watching Lakewood change from this melting pot to, just a different type of place, right? It's really tough, but where it starts with community relations. And I get it, 20 years ago, and again, I'm going to speak freely, right? You had legacy folks in Jackson who were screaming, the Jews are coming, the Jews are coming. And at the end of the day, look, organically, you're going to have people move in from Lakewood or from Brooklyn or from Israel or from wherever they come from, right? And it's just natural. And you have some good folks that move in. They just want to live a good life. And then you have a lot of battling between the legacy folks and those folks. And it starts with temperature. And when the temperature is really high, that's not good. Because what happens when the temperature's high? People don't talk, they scream. And then you have people like this news source in town who, even though they're not getting paid by the town, supposedly, okay, they are still creating a terrible environment. And, that was one of the reasons why I decided to run for mayor, because at the end of the day, I'm a Jewish guy, right? I'm Jewish by heritage. I'm partially Israeli. I'm not a religious guy. I'm technically now a Christian, but I understand both communities. And I really believe the only way to bring everyone together is someone like myself. And that's another reason why I'm running, because I feel I can take the temperature down. Each side will respect me once they all obviously know the truth. Again, that news source is telling everyone I'm this ravenous Orthodox guy who just wants to take up. Look, I think most people who know me and who know Chris and our team, they know who I am. They know what I'm capable of. I'm a businessman. I'm a deal maker. Oh man, I sound like Trump saying that. But that is why I'm here. I'm here to make sure everyone can live in peace and harmony. And look, at the end of the day, we'll figure it out. I want to set up a really good cultural committee. And honestly, kind of like the way you and I are just talking, unfettered discussion, I'd love to bring in both sides of the community and say, look, no lawsuits, no anything. Let's just get it out in the open. How do you feel about me? And how do I feel about you? Let's get it out. Let's duke it out. And then let's have constructive discussion, because both sides aren't going anywhere.
No, they're not going anywhere. And I think one of the things that, if I can make a suggestion, is everybody being on the same playing field and playing by the exact same rules.
Correct.
Okay. And once again, with the things that I see that are happening that I think are going to be problems are one community, like Mordecai said, there's a community that has special needs and there's a community that doesn't have special needs.
Correct.
And that clash is going to be something that I think everyone has to figure out. Okay. I don't know the answer to it. I definitely think the special privilege stuff has to go away, but that's going to affect certain elements of their community. Right. So it's like the bone of contention that everybody has is like when certain buildings go up, certain churches go up in houses, when you have the LLCs buying houses and when you have all this stuff that's happening, and watching other people not be able to abide by the same rules as everybody else, I think that's what happens. And, you have people like in my neighborhood where when I post this stuff, we had somebody just try to build or get approved to build on a lot that was too small. Okay. And it's like, we went to the town to have a shed put in my backyard, and I couldn't do it because it was too close to the neighbors and all this, but other people, they get to do that. I think that's a big issue in Jackson. I think, do you have any ideas how to address maybe like how you would attack that? Because once again, I think these things are at the crux of what the problems are.
Well, you made a comment earlier about even playing field. Part of the problem is some of the bad players are some of the investors and developers from outside of Jackson, preferably in Lakewood, in other parts as well, Brooklyn, believe it or not, Canada, right? Yep. And some of these special interest folks are doing some insidious things. They have a lot of money, right? And unfortunately, politics and money, it's gross because that's where you see the cronyism, and that's where look, it was the Democrats back the Jewish folks years ago, and the Republicans were supposedly like, Hitlers to the Jews. Now all of a sudden it's the GOP, right?
It's crazy.
We've seen this shift, and basically what happened is over the last 30 years, the Jewish community really started building up a lot of wealth. They started buying a lot of businesses, started getting into banking more heavily locally. They started buying properties, and at the end of the day, they ended up getting a hold of the power, the power stick. So the GOP said, hey, look, you know what? These guys have money. These guys have power. These guys have influence. Let's roll with it.
Let's jump on it.
Yeah. So do you have a level playing field in Jackson? No, you don't. You don't. And there are certain folks that are plugged into the town in governance that they're not. Now, I want to address the next part of what you said. As a mayor, and I want to emphasize this with a lot of emphasis.
So you have to do this. Do the Gavin Newsom hand.
You got to do the Gavin.
Yeah.
My wife told me not to curse, so I'm not going to curse. Right.
Good.
Although I tend to sometimes throw 4-letter words out there, but maybe I'll do the point instead. Who cares, right? I'm going to do my thing. Level playing field. I am a practical, common sense person. I don't care who you are. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care if you are my religion. I don't care if you're a different religion. We are going to have a level playing field, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, don't come here, right? We hopefully, I shouldn't say hopefully, we will have super control. We will control the legislative branch and the executive branch next year for 2027. We will have full control. And at that point, we will be in charge of the laws. We will be in charge of the policies. The good people of Jackson will have fair play. There will be no connections to that money, to that insidiousness in our town. And again, I am not here to curry favors. I'm here for one term. I'm a businessman. I have zero connections to anyone. Okay. You can look me up. You can do all the digging, hire a private investigator, have fun. I have no connections to anyone. I will ensure that everyone gets a fair shake, from the investors to the home buyers to everyone else in town. If you want to have a discussion with me, if you want a round table, I'm a big committee person. I will run multiple different committees. I like to govern by committee because, again, I think governing is about listening to the people and giving the people the majority. You can't make everyone happy, but giving the majority of the people what they want. So
what do you think? What do you think we didn't touch on as far as Jackson concerns, about what people want in Jackson? What do you think the average voter really wants in Jackson?
Quite frankly, the average voter wants what I want when I moved to Jackson. You know, as a young guy, I was a big New York guy. I love going to the city. I love the lights. I love the action, the sirens, the cars and everything. And then I got older and then I'm like, you know what? I really like the peace and quiet. It's so cool to come out of my house and see deer and fox and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I live in a part of Jackson. It's more on the populated side, if you want to call it that, but I'm on a cul-de-sac street. I got woods in my backyard. I got groups of deer that come on my front lawn. Dude, I love that. That to me is, I love nature now. I like peace and quiet. I'm 53. Granted, I have no kids. I have 2 dogs. That's it. And a wife. We love nature. And I think that's what most Jacksonites want. They want good schools. They want clear roads. They probably could use a little bit more shopping. We don't have a restaurant like that's open past 8 or 9 o'clock, which is kind of crazy.
Well, that was COVID.
Yeah.
It's COVID ruined the bars for, you know, we used to be able to stay at the Manlogan Road Ale House till like 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Now 10:30, they're like flicking the lights out. You're like, get out. Like, what are we talking about? I just started drinking. I'm not even close to being drunk.
Dude, give me something over 10:30.
Yeah, 10:30.
Give me something over till 10.
Yeah.
I'm elated. I mean, it's funny. After the council meeting, Chris and I were like, let's go get a bite to eat with the wives. And we sat there like twiddling our thumbs saying, where are we going to go? I mean, we ended up at CG's, you know, and grabbed some wings and beers, but that was like the only place open. Nothing's, even the Edge closed down. Now it's, you know, it's an Orthodox or religious place called Piscata. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we lost that. I mean, we don't have anything. So when I say I'm against overdevelopment, I'm for proper development.
Yeah. And so, but once again, like, so put it this way, this is some of the things that I hear from my cousin who lived in Jackson. Mm. He said, Mike, we had one restaurant in our area, and since people that don't go to that restaurant or eat at that restaurant, since more of those people moved in, and I'm saying it exactly how he said it to me, because he's very liberal and he's very conscious about it, so he doesn't want to offend anybody in the whole 9 yards.
Sure.
So when more of a certain group of people moved in, the restaurants weren't able to stay open because they didn't have the business. So now the only restaurant and the bars that they used to go to has now closed down.
Yeah. And
they get replaced with a restaurant or a business that caters to everybody, but it really caters to one group of people, right? Yeah. So he goes, my options are limited unless I want to go there. And that was a big problem for him. And they wind up selling their house and moving out of Jackson. And I think this is a theme that you're seeing over and over, right? So I'm just bringing up things that I heard. And you're going to be mayor, and this is obviously a concern from a citizen. So again, I know I don't want to harp on this religion thing, but I think this is Jackson's at a very weird crossroads,
an inflection point.
Yes, yeah, and it's coming with two communities that are butting at each other.
Yep. And
one of the things I like about what you said was you think you could bridge the gap there.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on these problems, because I love the idea of more restaurants. I love them, but do you have the people that are going to frequent it? You know?
Yeah. So to me, Mike, it's mindset too. And when I say mindset, that sounds like bullshit, right? Like what's mindset? But we're still practicing capitalism last time I looked.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we are.
So I can't say you can't go there because you're a Jewish operation.
Yeah.
You have to go here because you're Christian. I mean, that's a huge no-no. You don't do that, right? That's, you're breaking religious, freedoms and all that other jazz. So now you have to look at it from the standpoint of, okay, you're a Jewish kosher establishment. Open up your establishment to everyone. Make people feel welcome. I know I talk to a lot of folks in the community that are Orthodox or Jewish, and they're like, no, come, it's fine. We don't care who comes. I said, look, I know you say you feel that way, but other people don't feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
They feel that.
They don't feel welcome.
They don't feel welcome.
Yep.
They feel like you're snubbing your nose at them. Look, I got to tell you, me not being an Orthodox or religious Jewish guy, I used to get those vibes. right? But now that folks tend to know who I am, they'll open up, they'll talk to me, they'll be honest with me. And my initial response now, just as a resident, is, hey, look, open it up to everyone. There's a new kosher supermarket that opened where Stop and Shop left. And again, I think people that bought the plaza happened to be religious Jews that bought the plaza. So of course, an Orthodox, or I should say a kosher supermarket came in. You know, if I got a chance to sit down with the owner, I would tell him, look, you're a capitalist. You obviously put this thing here because you want to make money. And there's only, I think, 10,000 Jewish folks in the town. Granted, you'll get some spillover probably from Lakewood that'll come there and shop. I think it's called, I can't remember the name, right? Kosher Experience, a Glot Kosher, something like that, whatever the name may be. But open it up to everyone, because the more people that come there, the more money you're going to make, the more you're going to turn everything on the shelves. Who cares who you sell it to? Sell it to everyone. Open up your store to non-Jews and Jews alike, and you're going to make way more money. So to me, it's all about inclusivity. Again, before
you're right. Stay open on Saturdays, right? Because and I guess it's tough to be in that religion, right? But I think that's when you're getting into these things, it's kind of like, these are the little things that would make someone not feel, well, the day I could shop is on a Saturday. Now my only option is closed.
Correct.
You're right. So I think it's those things that are really bothering people. But I really didn't want to hammer that, but I know that's a big issue. And it's an issue that you see that's coming to a clash. Now, Jackson also has, obviously, you brought up the environment, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see Jackson 5, 10, 15 years from now? Because when the election's coming up this year, right? So it's a 4-year term.
Right.
If you get elected, where do you see 4 years later? Elliot was elected. He's leaving as mayor. He does one term. Mm-hmm. Where do you see Jackson going, or what does Jackson look like after an Elliot?
That's a good
mayor
question.
Campaign?
That's a real good question. First, I'll tell you where I don't see it. I don't see 150,000 people there, for starters. I don't see 130,000 people there. Do you have natural growth in towns from childbirths? And some people leave, a lot of people stay, some people move in. Of course you do. You're going to get a few folks that stay and then and move in. If we have 66,000 now, maybe it's 76, 80,000 naturally, you're going to have some growth. And it's just natural. Where I see it, I see Jackson a better community relations, people working together, some of the swamp monsters that originate from the state level, even the federal level, out of our town. And the bottom line is this: I don't know what the developed areas will look like. Hopefully the developed areas that have a lot of these ghost structures and, old structures get remodeled and rebuilt and used for everyone. But again, the big thing, the thing that people talk about that's front and center, and I can't remember the percentage, 50, 60% of wetlands and pinelands. I look at that to be the same. That should never, ever, ever be touched. We have a great guy on one of the environmental committees now, Adam Haiti.
Mm-hmm. Spoke to Adam.
Yeah. Amazing guy, right? I'm a huge...
Smart dude.
Ultimate smart.
He said, he was like, oh, I'm just like a molecular biologist. Like it was just, I'm like, wait a minute. So you make... Yeah. So as soon as I found out what he did, I was like, I'm going to pick your brain with mRNA and all. He's like, oh, that's exactly what I do. I build all those things. All right, cool.
Well, I give him a lot of credit because a lot of those guys, they tend to be smart and they tend to be very introverted. Adam's not introverted.
No.
He speaks up. He comes to the council meetings. He speaks up. People like that, they're going to have a front and center voice. Those are the folks that if they come back to me with their findings and say, look, these builders want to build here. These are the issues with zoning. Shouldn't go there. Done. Finished. Over. Not happening. Okay. You're not building there. Because at the end of the day, I don't care who you lobby to as mayor. And I can tell you the folks that are going to be running with me, we're going to be a ticket. Okay. And they're going to soon come out and announce who they are. Those are the folks who are going to give us control of both the legislative and executive branch. They will be with me, they will be with Adam, and they will be with those committees. And they will ensure that for that 4 years, people do not touch that area.
Dude, I like it. So what you see is you see, if I could recap that for you. Obviously some development, right?
Proper development.
Maintaining the footprint of your pinelands and your wetlands. And from what I understand, it's really 53 or 54% of Jackson is unbuilt.
Right.
Should be unbuildable. Okay. Sure. You want to see a lot of the corruption that's gone in Jackson. I think we would love to see a lot of corruption gone everywhere. I think that's an honorable, that's something that every town should be striving for. Yeah. And every town swears they don't have it, right? Every single town swears they don't, but they all do. And what else, man? Well, what am I missing?
I want to just plug something here.
Fire away.
Right? Because I may be running against the current mayor, right? Jennifer Kuhn, who I've nicknamed in the last election Crooked Kuhn. How are you a real estate agent? You're the mayor of the town, appointed, by the way, not elected. And again, we don't know yet if she's going to run, but all fingers kind of point in that direction. And again, I don't care who I run against, right? I can run against her, I can run against Mickey Mouse. I don't care who it is. I don't care who they throw in. But at the end of the day, how are you selling Jacksonites homes as a real estate agent and you're the mayor? That's not a conflict of interest. That's not a swamp creature. I mean, to me, that's appalling. You should have no interest in the town financially if you are in government. That is a big no-no. Yet she is. She has her storefront in Romeo's Plaza. And again, good for her that she's a real estate agent. I'm sure she's really good at it.
Yeah, her good things.
Yeah, great. You know, make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, you know, whatever she makes. But you're the mayor. Step away from your business. Have nothing to do with it until your term is up. And then you can go back. Like, again, supposedly like Trump stepping away from his business. I don't know if he has or not, but at the end, I think his children run it. But if you're governing, govern 100% of the time. Again, the business that I'm in I'm in the surveillance, you know, I work for a manufacturer, right? It's all. And I'm a consultant to the consultants. You know, I have nothing to do with the town. I do nothing in Jackson. The only thing I do is sit there because that's where my home office is. So there's zero financial interest to me. But again, some of these folks like her and then some of the people that are in government in the county level, I mean, they have such deep claws financially. It's hard to fathom how people do that. And then they walk around like there's no issues, like it's okay. It's not okay. You know, I mean, walk away.
It's very interesting. You know, I don't know if anybody have a problem with it if they didn't govern with their jobs.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, if decisions that I'm making for the town, in the back of my head, I'm really thinking how it's going to affect me in my business.
Sure.
Then I'm not doing it for the town. I'm doing it for myself. It becomes a personal gain and not a town gain. That to me, I think is a very big problem. And for what I've seen with a lot of it, Jackson seems to have those type of issues going on. They definitely seem to have decisions being made that are personal decisions and not for the town decision. And I think that works for Ocean County. I think that works for Tom's River. I think that works for Howell. I think that works for a lot of, you know, Brick, certainly in Brick. But let's do this, Ellie, because we were actually right at 9 o'clock. That went very, very fast. I looked down. I was like, holy shit.
That went too fast.
We are 40 minutes in, right? It goes so fast. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So we could go a little bit longer if you want, if there's cool. Anything. Let's do this. Is there anything that you want to address? I guess lies or any smears that's been said against you. You want to set the record straight on anything out there besides the Jew anti-Semite thing, you know?
You know, it's a couple things.
Yep.
Right. So again, it's unbelievable. We're in January. Like the election cycles don't start till they start heating up around June, July, and then August you're in it. We're in January. We're not even halfway through January, right? So we're already hearing things from the same media source, right? Who I'm going to say it, the guy's a total loser. I mean,
where was he? I have him somewhere.
I'm not going to say his name. You're more than welcome to. I'm not giving him any oxygen. I'm not giving his.
He was sitting in your chair just a little while ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice little gingerbread man. We had Phil. Yeah. I was making fun of him. It was great.
Are the legs getting shaky now from the?
Yeah. He broke there.
Right,
you feel the dent in the floor?
I do.
The chair's rocking.
The chair's rocking. Yeah, exactly. He viciously attacked my good friend and councilman Chris Pollock by saying some of the most abhorrent and disgusting things I've ever heard in politics. And this
he tried to say he was a pedophile by association.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, that's when I was like, okay, I've got to start saying something to Phil. That's when I started going at him on his page.
Yeah.
Because that's how desperate they were. And that's how scared they were of Chris. Mm-hmm.
And, you just hit the nail on the head. When they are scared of you, they throw as much shit at you as they can. And they threw the kitchen sink at that man. And he just kept coming back. He was like Rocky. Like, remember Rocky 1? He just kept going down. He just kept coming back and coming. That was Chris. And he hit me too. And it's funny because he's hitting me. Who am I? I'm just the campaign manager. I'm like the, whatever you want to call me, chief strategist, guy that's consulting, giving Chris all the, the ideas of how to run the campaign. But make no mistake about it, he ran that campaign with me. Mm-hmm. I was no puppet master. He's a very smart guy. I learned a lot from him in that campaign. And quite frankly, that's what they are saying now, that I'm this brainiac guy that's running the campaign and running Chris and running his office and slipping him notes and texting him things. That is so ridiculous. He is a super smart guy. Every decision he makes is his own decision. Yeah, off hours, do we consult? Do we talk? Do we talk strategy? Do we talk about the town and governance and all that? Sure, we do. But everything he comes up with, it's on his own now, right? He's the councilman and he's a smart guy. He doesn't need me to be his puppet master, nor do I need him to be my puppet master. We are a duo. We're a team. And that's how we approach it. And that's how we'll continue to approach things.
Yes, I remember talking to Chris before you even came on as his campaign director. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he had this stuff going on and you helped him across the finish line. So it wasn't like, I don't know if he has any strings attached to him, and I don't see any strings attached to your fingers. Anything else? What other lie you want to address?
Well, again, I think when you go back to January 2nd, January 3rd, whatever it was that they started attacking me, you have to ask yourself. The people in the town have to ask, why is this news source so viciously coming after me? Who am I? This so-called Elliot Shem-Tov, right? Not my name. It's Elliot, obviously.
With two T's, apparently. I just learned that. Yeah.
You had one T on the thing.
I had one T. My bad.
Look, I've had people call me, text me, email me. Are you okay? Are you rattled? I'm like, dude, this is great. You know what? And they're like, why? Why are you saying it's so great? I'm like, because they're so scared.
They're so scared.
They're so scared. That's the only reason they're pulling this crap. And they know that I'm a real agent of change. I can't be stopped. I won't be stopped. I am not the guy to screw with. I will come in. I will win the campaign. I will outlay my agenda. And that's it. And after 4 years, I hand you a better town back. Jackson will be a better place than it was when I first got here. And that's the bottom line, whether people on one side or another, like it or not. I will govern fairly. I don't care who you are. I don't care what special interest you are. I cannot be bought. I cannot be swayed. That is the bottom line. I come out of left field as someone that has nothing to do with anyone else. So that's the bottom line. Hit me with what you have. I don't care.
And they're going to come at the fact that they're coming at you early.
Yeah,
means they're trying to paint. They're trying to drumbeat something, a narrative, and they're to label you something. You can't vote for him. It's funny, how they went after you for the Jewish thing. Like I said, I was crying laughing crying laughing at that. I think we actually I sent you a text. What was it? O.J. Simpson, not a Jew. As soon as I saw that, but it was funny, man. It was very funny. But so if you one of the criticisms I did see about you is that you're running. You decided to run and you don't even have a platform set yet. Now, we've spoke about some of your platform. I know you said you had, what was it, 12 or 16 points that you were going to be putting out here?
Think about this. It's January, what are we, 13th or something like that, 12th? I can't remember.
Is it that far?
Lose track of the days.
It's the 9th, yeah.
The 9th. Wow. It's only the 9th.
Yes. And I'm like, holy shit, it's the 9th already?
I mean, do I really need to come out with a platform now? I mean, right now, I think it's important for people to know that I am a fiscal hawk. I am going to come in. I'm going to create a committee called GIAC, which is the Government Efficiency and Accountability Committee. So we're going to do my version of Doge a little bit differently than Trump did. We're going to have really smart folks come in that have no ties to the town, rip through the budget, find the waste, the fraud, and the abuse, and then we will present it to the council so the town can see it and vote on what we're going to cut. And the second part of the platform is we're going to take that money, which I estimate to be probably somewhere between $6 to $10 million. We will reinvest it into services in the town, once again, through a committee that will then run polling through the town. We will find out what the majority of residents want, and then we will return them. I'd love to do something like free trash pickup like that. I think they do it in Brick, right? Mm-hmm. You guys do that in Brick?
Well, it's not free, but yeah, I mean, we definitely have trash pickup.
Yeah, I mean, we have trash pickup too, but you have to pay waste management, or I think I have free
yeah, no, it's part of the Brick municipal.
Right, right. It's great that the current mayor has given us weekly recycling. That was a disaster the way they rolled that out. But there are a multitude of other services, which I don't have to get into now, that I can return the money back to. And again, I don't have to get into it because at the end of the day, it's what the people want. It's not what I want, right? I'm the mayor. I'm the guy that implements and executes. It's what the people of the town want. And then, of course, the environment's going to be big. I'm going to support the police. We'll add more heads if need be. We will bolster code enforcement. We will give them the tools that they need and take the handcuffs off. I think some of the things that they're doing now with code enforcement is too light. We really need to make sure the illegal rentals, we really
LC is a big problem.
It's a huge problem. I mean, giving a few dollars more in fines, that's nonsense. The fines need to be substantial. You break the law, you pay the price, right? There's just a multitude of things I want to do that's good for the people. And, where have I gotten this from? Where did I derive all this from? Talking to folks in town, talking to everyday Jacksonites that have been there for 5, 10, 20, 30 years, 60 years, whatever the case may be. So I want to give the town back what they want. I want to be the agent, the vehicle that does that for them. And I think you now got a pretty good idea who I am and what my platform is starting to resemble, what it looks like.
And I got to tell you something, sitting down next to me, I don't know why it's the scariest thing on the planet, but there's a lot of politicians that don't want to do it. I will be putting this out to Jennifer Kuhn, see if she wants to pop on.
Sure.
I know Mordecai was more than gracious enough to do it. I'm going to be asking all of them. I want Roderick on. I want all of them to come on.
Yeah.
And let's have a conversation with everybody, man. See who has the best ideas. And it's the truth. The fact that you're willing to do this and say, "Here I am," I didn't give you any questions. You didn't show you have some notes, but I don't even think you looked at them at all, right? But it's not like I gave you questions beforehand to come up here and just answer questions. Who are you? What do you got to do? I think that's step one.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of the politicians in our area do not want to answer questions. There's one thing that I would like to leave you with, though, just an idea.
Yep,
I think all of the mayors in Ocean County need to have an Ocean County mayors coalition.
I like that.
Okay. And one of the things that I think is disgusting, and I'm not going to ask you, everyone's right now wondering about the schools. What about the schools? What about the schools? What about the schools? One of the things that people don't realize is the mayor and the school, they really are kind of separate. You don't have a lot of power over the school, so I'm not going to waste your time with asking you about them. But I say that to say this. Ocean County sued New Jersey for the school funding formula, where Jackson lost how much money? Brick lost $25 million over 5 years. Tom's River lost millions and millions of dollars. And we won, but they never handed over the formula. They handed over the formula, but they didn't hand over the program to run the formula to actually see how it is. And for some reason, it just went away. And then we have Ocean County we are getting hammered along with these other counties. We are getting hammered with this affordable housing mandate. And the only way that it's going to happen is if we have some type of coalition between the counties. All the mayors in one county are going to fight this affordable housing. And the only way to do it is together. I think that's if you minimize how much you're spending, you all pool up money and you go after the state that way. I think that would be really good. And I think our interests align.
Yeah.
What Jackson's doing has to go coincide with Brick, has to coincide with Howell, has to coincide with Tom's River, because we're all battling the same exact problems in a different way.
Mike, if you heard kind of a common theme in what I've spoke about, I talk a lot about committees. I talk a lot about the concept of, 4 heads are better than 2, 8 heads are better than 4. You get real results when you bring in other like-minded people. I'm going to give you one great example in business. So there was a company that I worked for. We ended up going public. I helped them go public before I left. I ran the entire sales team. I set up a committee every Friday, 2 of the smartest people out of the 13 or 12 on the sales team. And we would throw around great ideas. Now, even though I'm the VP of sales, whatever, I didn't sit in an ivory tower. I said, guys, look, here's my ideas. I want to hear your ideas. Come prepared to have discussion on what can help the company be more fiscally responsible, generate revenue, have a really tight P&L. And then we rolled it out to the team on Monday morning. And I said to the team, look, I want everybody's cameras on. I want everybody's mics on. I want buy-in. Here are the plans. What do you think? If you have any dissenting voices, I want to know. I am not going to market with 8 people saying yes and 2 people on my team saying absolutely. We do this as a team. We do this together. We're in this together. So you get a lot of people that govern and lead, and they're like, hey, I'm the guy, right? I'm the smartest guy in the room. It's what I say goes. BS, man. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
You get smart people, you get ideas, you spitball, and once you formulate a good plan and execute it, that's how you win. And I'll tell you what, I love your idea. If I could sit down with 32 other mayors from other municipalities and really come up with great ideas, and there's power in numbers. So to your point, we talked a little bit about lobbying to the state. You get some other mayors who are in similar situations like Brick and Tom's River and Manchester. We got more firepower now, right? And we can go to Trenton and pound on the gavel and demand that we get results.
Yeah, we need loud politicians. Yeah. One of the things I don't love about my mayor and Brick is the fact that she doesn't seem like they stand up to anything coming out of Washington in any way, shape, or form. I will give them credit. Tara in our planning board did a great job, and they did a very good job with our affordable housing mandate. But because Brick is built out, we're 95% built out. We can't build anymore. They wanted us to build the same thing. They want us to build on wetlands and the whole 9 yards. But this isn't about us. But listen, man, I think this was great. I think everyone, you definitely get a sense of who Elliot is, right? This is what I want. The first interview like this, I want to know who you are, right? I want to know how you think, what you like, what crossed your mind, and how you think. One of the best things that I hear coming out of you is, I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the room. I think I'm smart as fuck. Excuse my language. I have to get one of those in there. Because like me, I think the same way. I think I'm a very smart guy. But one of the things that I think makes someone a very good leader or not is, can you go against your own thought process when someone else has a very good idea? Mm-hmm. And I just know this from different things. Like, I have formulated my immigration stance on listening to friends of mine that have a different perspective. And sometimes it's a perspective of, hey, the law sucks, or something. And when you take in everyone's idea, I understand one thing: I'm not going to have all the ideas. I might have a lot, and I may have the main one, but the details to it would be like, hey, we can do it like this, we can do it like this. It always takes a team of people, and it takes a real leader to be able to listen to people like that, and I appreciate it. So, Elliot, here's the camera sitting right there. There's the Jackson residents. Those are the people. Anybody from Jackson. And listen, you have a personality, right? I could probably see you going somewhere else, further up the ladder if we're not bullshitting here. But tell these people, quickly, why should they vote for you?
If you want honesty, you want integrity, you want true transparency, not the kind of transparency that people talk about, but you never get, I'm your guy, right? If you want someone who's willing to listen to people, who's willing to formulate good decisions based on what you want. I am a federalist. I believe in what the Constitution says. I believe that people have the power. People should have the voice in their government. That's if their government is playing fair and by the rules. That is the only way it works, because the people who don't play fair and play by the rules, they wield the power. They make the decisions. We've seen already after all these years, that's not working. When things don't work, you have to change. And the bottom line is, I'm here to make the change. I'm the agent of change. Swamp creatures want to sit there for 15, 20 years in office. I want 4. After the 4 years, I will happily move on. I have no interest in governing any further unless I am drafted and people start banging on my door telling me that I have to stay 4 more years. I'll consider it. Otherwise, I will not. But I have an open door policy. I will talk to anyone, anywhere, any place, anytime, just like the Orthodox folks that I talk to at Bagel King. They're residents, they're taxpayers. They should get an ear from me on what they want. They're human beings. They deserve to have governance just like every other person in Jackson Township.
Dude, absolutely very well said. And the bottom line is we have to find a way for everybody to live together, because what I see is not bad things, but I see trouble coming.
Yeah.
And I love your message here of being able to bring 2 groups of people together, because that is needed in Ocean County.
Yeah.
Okay. The people being separate and all those things that needs to stop. And some of the rhetoric on both sides, I think definitely needs to stop.
Big time.
I love your message, Elliot. Everybody, listen. Hope you appreciate this. I love my Fridays. My Fridays are fun, dude, because it's like I like doing different things like this. And obviously, we spoke a lot about local politics, but what you don't realize is everything's local, right? Everything is local, everybody. And you get a microcosm of what's going on in Jackson or what's going on in a certain town like ours. And chances are the things that Elliot spoke about tonight are going on in your town, no matter where you're watching it. We have people watching in California, Montana, Utah, all over the country. And chances are there's something going on in your area that you should be involved in. And one of the things that I love about Chris, who you ran with, and one of the things I loved about Elliot is these are people that are not part of the political establishment that said, I have got to do this because this is what I'm called to do. It's similar to what I was going through when I was sitting in the shed right across the street with a buddy of mine, and I was saying, I'm running for mayor of Bricktown. That's it. I can't do this shit no more. I can't watch this happen no more. And then I had a couple drinks, and then we thought, you know what? I'm not going to run for mayor. I'm going to be the thorn in everyone's side. I'm going to be the media side of all of this. And I want to talk to all these people. I think that's how I was going to be able to best serve the community.
The media sometimes has more power because the media has the ability to pull the covers back and expose.
Let me tell you something. The brick breakdown this year already in the Caltrop, or this past year, has had one of my reportings for the DPW guys got them all a pay increase. Okay. Got them overtime, got some potholes filled. When you look at some of the accomplishments, some of the things that we had defeated, 100 Drum Point we defeated a lot of overbuilding in this area. I'm very proud of the record that Brick Breakdown had over the last year.
That's awesome.
And we have not yet begun to defile ourselves, everybody. Trust me. I said that properly as well. We've had a lot of successes, and one of the things I appreciate about you is throwing your hat in the ring, and you're already starting to wear the BS. You didn't think it happened locally, but it does. And you're already starting to wear it. And it takes people like you, take people like Chris, it's going to take people like me. It's going to take people like you supporting people like him that are not bought and paid for by the people that have been ruining our state and our town for long enough. And, you know, I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you giving everybody a look into who you are. I hope you come back. You know, I'd love to have you on more when specific policy, like if you wanted to come back on, you know, for a specific topic. Hey, we're doing this. We're doing this. Obviously, when you start putting together your platform, I'd love to have you back on. And obviously, I'm going to be putting it out to Jennifer as well to see if she'd like to come on. I have a feeling. I hope she does.
I hope so too.
Because I don't see why. I'm not this mean. I'm not this much of an asshole, you know. But people think that seat is scary. Elliot, was it scary? Was it scary?
Not scary at all. I got to tell you. We've been doing this an hour and 20 minutes. I feel like I could do this another 2 hours.
Dude, it went fast.
This is so much fun.
Yeah.
And look, I'm going to say this, right? I don't care whether she was appointed, whether she was elected. She's in that seat until the end of this year, right? Going into the early part of next year. Nobody wants to see her succeed more than me because I live there, right? So the more she does well for the town, good for the town. Politics is interesting. It's fun. You're in this though to help people, and I'm going to root for her. Right? I don't hate her. I don't have anything personal against her, and I'm sure she has nothing personal against me. But you know, she's our mayor, so I'm going to support her from a resident standpoint. I mean, sure, if she runs,
you want her to do good.
I want her to do good.
Yeah.
Look, I live there, right? She just gave us recycling every week. Granted, the recycling card that we got in the mail looked like death. You couldn't read it. I put an article out today on it. Like what is it? I don't know what zone I'm in. I need literally the Steve Austin, the Bionic Man's eyes to see it. I got like the 2.0 readers on. I'm like, who did this? But, you know, I texted Morty and he texted me back and said, oh, no, it's not Monday. It's Wednesday now. My recycling got picked up and it's going to be every week. Good for her. That's great.
They'll get figured out. Carlos in the chat says we need to make sure our pinelands and environment is protected. Thoughts? I think you already given your thoughts on that, right? Yeah, so, Carlos, 100%. If you missed that, check back. Let this run back. I know that the environment was your biggest. One of my biggest ones. Yeah. But listen, guys, I really appreciate everybody. If you can share this, if you live in Jackson, share this. You have to know your candidates. One of the main reasons why I started doing this in the first place, especially with the brick breakdown, and this is a merge of the brick breakdown and the Caltrop, is because I was sick and tired of walking into my voting booth, and I pay attention to this stuff, and I had no idea who these people were. Share this episode. Let's get this out. Get this out to all the people in Jackson, and give this guy a shot. And if you didn't like what you hear, then you didn't like what you heard. But if you like what you heard, give him a shot. The bottom line is he's willing to talk to you, and he's willing to talk to the people that actually matter in the town and that make the decisions. Elliot, with 2 T's, Shem-Tov, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being here.
Thank
Best of luck, dude, coming up, and wish to have you back.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
And everybody, like I tell you all the time, figure the hell out of that like button. Finger my like button. It loves it. Don't make it gross. It's just a tip of your finger. Touch the like button. Touch the share button. And be a caltrop in your own mind. The way you become a caltrop is by blocking out the noise. Stop listening to the lies. Stop listening to the propaganda. And actually get the truth. Get the information by the people that are willing to provide it. This caltrop is always going to bring it to you. And this caltrop is out. Later.